Hey, everybody, welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Ansman. We got a great show for you. This is episode 199. We're not even going to waste time. We're just getting right into it. This is Bobby Cool, Daddy Slick Breeze. I have with me Eric, Star Wars McCabe, and Robert
Vestibule.
McCall.
Vestibule.
Vestibule.
Very good.
He's got his fancy North Pole vest on.
North Pole?
Face?
Oh, North Face. I've
North
got
Pole.
Christmas on the mind.
Yeah, that's right. That's okay.
North
Hey, it
Pole.
works.
No problem.
But
But it's vest weather.
I know,
It's
but let's
perfect.
get to the more serious.
It's not, though.
It
What?
is Star Wars.
It's a little warm outside, yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be behind. It's going to be a little bit behind you guys as far as you guys listening to this, but we have to talk about Star Wars week.
Okay.
So we're recording this on Wednesday, December 13th, but we're not going to release it until next Wednesday because right now you need to go back. If you haven't heard the episode, we have a special episode with Paige and Zach and Zoe and Dustin. So anyway, we're recording December 13th, 2 more days, and the official release of The Last Jedi Star Wars.
I mean, technically, it's tomorrow.
Oh, because some places get to watch it tomorrow?
Emporia has it tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. They have it tomorrow evening.
And if you want to get technical, Victor is watching it today in Sweden.
That's not fair.
Freaking Victor.
I know.
So far, I've watched 2 videos of no spoilers type video
Did
reviews.
you watch the one that Johnny V?
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw that one, and the guy was crazy, loved it.
Yeah.
The other one I watched was a guy that I watched that does reviews of Avenger movies, Game of Thrones, and other type, like he does, what's the Morton, what's the cartoon that people are into with the
Mick
and Morty?
Rick and Morty?
Yeah,
Rick and Morty?
sure.
Anyway,
I'm not into it.
he does
Never watched it.
he does stuff like that. He watched it and he said that it is the Star Wars that Star Wars fans wanted when they heard Star Wars was coming
Yeah,
back.
that's what I've
Cool.
heard. I've heard it's the best out
Yes.
of all of them.
Yep.
He ranks all the Star Wars movies, like even Rogue One,
Mhm.
Episode 1, 2, and all that. And number 1 is still Empire Strikes Back,
Right, because
just because
Come
it
on.
was so huge back
Mhm.
then. Number 2 is this new one.
nice.
Isn't that crazy?
That
Where
is-
does the one, like the first one with Hayden Christensen fit in?
I think
Because
it's
he
like
did
5 or
great.
s- yeah, it's way
that was
down
awful.
there.
It's way down there, but I guarantee you it's not as far down as episode 1
Yeah, fair.
No,
before.
True.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm super excited. And,
It's hard to not to just avoid spoilers this whole week. Like I've already read a couple,
Oh yeah,
but they contradict each other
oh
of who Ray is. So it's kind of like
Ah.
I'm just gonna stay off the interwebs for a few days.
It's a
I'm
good
gonna
call.
have to. So
That's
we're Eric's going Friday at 12:30. At myself as well as, in fact, the whole media department is going to go
Nice.
watch it as well.
That's awesome.
We're taking an extended lunch on Friday, the December 15th, to go watch it. So we're super excited. So if you're not a Star Wars nerd, I apologize for the last 2-3 minutes. But if you are a Star Wars fan, you've probably seen it by now. We won't give any spoilers because we haven't seen it. Yeah, that was a dumb statement to make. Of course, we're not going to give spoilers. We haven't
Right.
seen it yet.
But I mean, maybe you'd heard him.
Right. So
yeah.
anyway, so hopefully you enjoyed it. I hope it's as good as they say it is. So it is. I'm looking outside. It's December 13th, and it's a nice sunny day,
It's nice.
but it's super windy.
It is windy.
But Eric, yesterday you did a little trip. Was it yesterday or the day before? You went
Monday.
on a little trip. Tell us
Mhm.
about that trip.
I woke up super early and drove to Western Kansas, Tribune, Kansas, actually. I got there and I had a 1 o'clock meeting, and I got there at 11:45 because they're on Mountain Time,
Go.
and I did not know that they were on Mountain Time going into it. So, but
that worked out nicely for
yeah.
So
you.
you were early, not
I was
late.
early.
That's good.
I was an
Yeah.
hour early, but they actually showed up quite early as well and said, "Yeah, we're used to it. People usually say a time, and we meet them an hour early." So I'm like,
That's
that makes
hilarious.
sense. But no, I was putting in designing a disc golf course out there. We ended up doing 9 holes with 2 different tees on every hole to kind of make it an 18.
Okay.
It's a pretty cool little park. There's quite a few trees. A lot of wind. Always
Yeah.
going to be wind out there.
Yeah.
But after that, I had actually, on my way home, stopped at the Ron Allen Memorial Disc Golf Course. Course in Jetmore, Kansas, that I had designed about a year ago, and did kind of like a walkthrough with the gimbal, and I'm putting together a little video for him to put out there, and it's a fun course. It's very unique. There's 1 row of cedar trees, and that's it
Wow.
on the entire course. But there is a massive lake out there, and they utilized some of the tall prairie grass as boundaries, and actually we took some telephone poles, cut them, and planted them in the ground as trees. Because I mean, it's tough to
Gotta
to
create
grow
something.
trees. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's some form of obstacle, man-made obstacle. I know you can go a little crazy with some man-made obstacles. You know, you can do it right or you can do it kind of wrong. But I think they did a great job of installing them to make it a little more challenging.
Very cool.
Was that the one that has the kind of what looks like a monster door frame with a basket attached?
Like a hanging basket.
Yeah.
Yep.
Sweet. Yeah,
Yep.
that looked cool.
Very nice. You do anything exciting over the weekend, Robert McCall?
What was this weekend? It feels like so long ago.
I know.
I went to a buddy's wedding this weekend in Houston, so I
Oh,
got to
that's
see got to see a bunch of old friends I hadn't seen in quite a while and catch up with them. So that was really good.
Nice. Did you happen to go
Yeah.
to a Kansas City Chiefs game?
I did.
I didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't. I normally would have, but this was one of my bros. He was in my wedding too.
How many-
Sure, I get it.
Was
I
that
wanted
your
to be
first
there.
Chiefs game?
It was my first professional
Anything?
NFL,
NFL
football
football
game.
game.
Really?
I've been to obviously some Royals games.
Yep.
And then I've been to a professional hockey game.
Nice.
But that was like a long time
So
ago.
so Robert has been to as many Chiefs games as you have.
Right.
In your face.
No, anyway, we did a little company trip, little
Thank you.
Christmas present to all our
Somebody has to help me
employees.
out.
We took a bus to Arrowhead Stadium and watched the Kansas City Chiefs game. And I tell you what, I had a blast.
It was so
It
much
was
fun.
so awesome. We were tailgating. We were playing some with the junior recruits. People were playing catch. They brought out the spike ball.
Nice.
And then some people were just hanging out, just having a good time. Came game time, walked in, sat, watched the game. There's something about being that close to the action.
Yep.
That makes you you're like, catch the ball.
It makes you
Go through
appreciate
that
it a
hole.
little.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
you're like, man. So
you can see it a lot differently.
Oh,
which is
yeah.
really
So
cool.
I was
we had
yelling,
great
screaming.
seats too.
Oh,
it
yeah.
was,
It
was
looked
in,
like it,
It was
yeah.
in the end zone, but I mean, it was lower
Close to the
level.
field,
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
it was
a great
awesome.
time. So I was thinking to myself, I want to go again one time.
Mhm.
Everybody goes to go tailgate or something like that. I want to go out there and do that again.
Did you design some disc golf holes in your mind while you were
I
there?
did. I was thinking, man, this is
Nice.
going to be sweet from here.
Yeah.
to
Yes.
there,
The
from
whole time I was
here.
thinking, oh, we're going to be on that field pretty soon.
Yeah, that's gonna be really cool.
July, is it June or July?
It is June.
June 15th, 16th,
It's
somewhere in there. We're going to be going back to Arrowhead Stadium and actually putting some baskets in there for our disc golf experience at Arrowhead Stadium. So if you're in the area, make sure you stay tuned for that. Going to be good stuff. All right, so before we get into the questions, I did a couple polls and surveys on different social media channels, and I wanted to see what your guys' thoughts were on it, see what you can predict what people thought. So on YouTube, YouTube has a new way where we can chat with people that follow us. So if you don't follow us on YouTube, make sure you follow us, and we're gonna have some fun on the community tab, we call it. So this question is, what is the most challenging aspect of your disc golf game? And I put 3 choices: consistent putting, distance off the tee pad, and throwing well-placed shots. 1.3 thousand people voted.
It's pretty good.
What do you
Great.
think was the most voted for?
Well, I mean, majority of the questions we get on here are, how do I throw farther? So I would say that one.
Okay, what about you, McCall?
That seems right, but people always struggle with putting, whether they like to talk about it or not.
Mhm.
When you see,
So if you could just click it anonymously.
right, yeah, I don't want to tell anybody, but I don't putt very well.
But I don't putt good.
I would say that in the lower divisions, that's what people struggle with more than throwing. So I'd say putting,
Yeah.
consistent putting.
Number 1 was consistent putting. Number 2 was distance off the tee pad. Number 3 was throwing well-placed shot. Putting was 62%.
Wow, that's big time.
24% distance and 14% well-placed shots.
Guess everyone who listened to the show is very accurate.
Very-
They don't,
yeah.
they don't need any help.
Nah.
One guy put all of the above.
Yeah. Yes.
Let's see. I went with putting. Consistent punch would greatly improve my game, but all 3 need work. But yeah, that's kind of given.
I
So.
think anybody can say all 3 need work.
Sure.
All right, cool. We'll get back to a couple more of the surveys, but let's drop into the questions. So this is episode 199, and we're going to try to get through all the questions, not in this episode, but this one in the next episode. So for 2018, we have a fresh start.
Let's
and
go.
we're actually going to have a new way of submitting questions,
Nice.
and we'll get into that in episode 200.
Holograms.
Holograms. You have to send in your holograms, and we have R2D2 projected onto over here. So, All right, this first one is from Tinin.
And if we don't like it, we'll punch the hologram.
Yes.
Doesn't do anything to you, but you know.
This is Tinin. Maybe Bobby can pronounce my name correctly. Clark.
Okay, here it is.
Tynan.
Yeah.
Tinin or Tynan?
I'm not sure. Let's
All
find
right,
out.
Let's see what he says.
Bob.
Hey there, Bobby Cool, Daddy Slick Breeze, Eric, Emac McCabe, and Robert
Standard. Well played.
McCall.
Well played.
This is Tynan from Minnesota,
Tynan. That's
and
right.
it is a beautiful 50 degrees out, and I think that is the ideal temperature for disc golf. You just get out there in your Minnesota uniform, which is the classic hoodie and shorts get up, or if you're
Nice.
Robert, maybe a vest, I don't know. Anyway, I have a quick question on what I have come to understand is called the Power Pocket. I don't know if you have talked about it on any previous episodes of the podcast, or I don't know if you even have any idea what I'm talking about. Anyway, from what I understand, it's a way to wrap your grip around the outside of the disc to allow for a lot more spin on release. At least maybe you can explain it better than I can. I just wanted to maybe, if anything, spread awareness of what I'm calling the Power Pocket, because it took a long time for me to figure out what this was and start using it. Over the summer, I went from about 280 for my max drive, and now I'm throwing 380, sometimes 400, and I think that is a huge improvement. If you're wondering, internet distance, it's about 600.
Nice.
Anyway, thanks for the answer, and keep it real.
What do you guys say?
The only pocket I know is of a hot pocket.
Hot Pockets.
Hot pocket.
I've never heard the term Power Pocket.
I have.
Have you?
I think it's what people call when you're pulling across your chest and you're at this angle, like your right angle across here, like that's pulling this. They call that the Power Pocket.
Well, I thought he said that his hand is
Correct.
somehow on his
Correct.
disc.
That's the only way that I've heard it talked
Oh,
about.
okay.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
So in response to your question, I'm not sure of a different way to hold your disc that creates more spin. I've always just held it where your wrist is in line with the rest of your arm. And then it only breaks when it's forced to by your throwing motion. So that's all I've heard of on that. If you'd like to call back in, Tynan, and elaborate and maybe come up with a better nickname that's not just crickets, we would very much enjoy hearing your explanation of that. But yeah, as far as getting extra spin, I'm not sure.
So I got a follow-up question. It does where you place your hand on the disc, does that affect how much spin you put on it?
Well, yeah, but I don't think you could actually.
I think you're going to lose consistency.
Yeah.
with-
If you try to place it farther back, so you're like you get that one quarter extra wrist rotation, I think it's gonna probably not even really add more spin. Definitely decrease consistency.
Well, it's just going to do either early or late releases too.
Yep.
So
Gotcha.
maybe he's just talking about power grip too. I mean,
Maybe.
it
I don't know.
could be.
I don't know.
Next one is from Mark. Per PDJ rules, can a player be penalized more than one stroke per throw? For example, the player commits a foot fault, throws OB, and misses a Mando. Is that a 1 penalty stroke or a 3 penalty stroke? Why or why not?
You get kicked off the course at that point.
Yeah.
You can no longer play.
That's right. It's called the trifecta.
The trifecta.
And it's a DQ.
Right.
Automatic
and
DQ.
Then don't look
Triple
back.
threat.
Yeah, that's right. That's
Look
right.
straight forward as you walk away.
And you have to leave your bag.
Yeah.
You can receive more than 1 penalty stroke per hole, but not on a Mando and an OB, right? So,
Correct. Oh, well, and a foot fault. So the foot fault
Right.
would trump all of them.
well,
Technically.
yes. If it's next year's rules, then I think there's a little bit of a gray area there. Previously, if you were called on a foot fault, you don't get to take that throw. You have to rethrow.
Yes.
And
yes.
so if you've already been
Accurate.
warned, then you throw another time with a 1-shot penalty, right? And you don't take the throw that you just threw. Now,
Yeah.
with next year's rules, if you foot fault, there's no warning. Right? That's what they said, right?
There's no warning, but it has to be seconded.
Right. Yes. You take the throw that you threw, but with a 1-stroke penalty. So if it's next year's rules, let's say you foot fault, you're called on a foot fault, so you take a 1-stroke penalty and you throw out of bounds, then you have 2 strokes on that.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it's pretty rude. You're going to want to watch your foot placement.
Well, the foot placement is a lot larger now too.
That's
so-
right. That's right. I think it's going to be harder to call foot faults definitively unless you're just like miles away from your disc.
Or stepping on your disc.
Oh yeah. Quick story. And I'm going to return to this. We went and played country club the other day. Me, Eric, Zach Melton, Eric
Oakley.
Oakley. We had a bunch of people out there. It was
Seth
fantastic.
Harwood.
Yep. Rusco was out there. We were just having a good old time. And which hole is that? 7?
That is hole 8.
8. I threw a nice turnover over the fairway. Got way up in the middle of our fairway, and just
Smashed.
went to
it was
for
you don't
me.
Understand. You don't understand. I've never seen Robert throw that far.
I was throwing some good shots that day. I hit that one pretty nicely. So yeah, I was throwing. If you've played that hole 8, I was throwing a putter up to the green, and let my Warden go and stepped on the edge of my disc, so it flipped up onto my foot. And so that's a foot fault, right? And Zach Melton and I were kind of competing with one another. And so he called foot fault, and he wasn't wrong to do that. And so I had already disregarded what was going to happen to the shot, and I just threw it in the basket.
And he called foot fault before the disc went in the basket.
Oh yeah, it was still halfway there. It wasn't even close. So I eagle two'd that hole, but had to rethrow because foot fault.
Yeah.
Wow.
And almost threw the next one in. I still got a birdie 3, but it hurt. I was sad.
I laughed.
Yeah, which was fair. That was
standard.
That was the right response. Okay, back to the question.
Yes.
If you miss a Mando and also go out of bounds, the Mando comes first.
Yes.
So you could foot fault and miss a Mando and get 2 strokes. You could not get 3 strokes from that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Next one comes from Chad. Have you guys ever considered creating a removable insert from the top of the Ranger bag? It would be great to utilize the existing space for extra disc, a putter pocket, favorite driver, etc. I think it would be a great addition to an already great bag. What are your thoughts?
I actually have 4 or 5 discs up there now.
Yeah.
I'm not sure a removable insert for the top of the Ranger bag.
Maybe it's just like an insert in the middle to keep the discs kind of standing up.
Yeah, maybe
better,
so
they don't just fall. Mine are just kind of everywhere. Whatever.
Right,
but
same.
I don't know.
You don't want to put too much up there because it gets top heavy.
Yeah.
But
we can mention it to Chris, see if he can look into it, and we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Next one is Rodney from State Farm. Oh, this one, he actually is
Wow.
from State Farm.
Dang. Is it the brother of Jake?
Your insurance is over. Oh,
wait. This is the wrong forum, Rodney. That's personal.
Hey, R. Mac, E. Mac, and Robert Brown. Sorry, Bobby. A few episodes ago, I heard Robert talking about how his left shoulder moved during his right-hand backhand throw.
Okay.
I implemented what he was talking about, and it honestly improved my game tremendously. I've been playing for 4 years or so, and before was throwing putters 260-ish, but now can consistently pump 290 plus.
Nice.
Even though I've seen tremendous improvement in my putter game, as soon as I've switched to a higher speed driver and I throw it with seemingly no difference in my form, I've been having nose up issues. Oh, I do too. I have nose up issues. Previously, I've had nose up issues. Any insights? Thanks. What do you think, Eric?
Well, typical. I mean, is it on his putter shots, or is that what he's referring to?
When he changes to anything but a putter.
Yeah,
anything
switch
but
to a
a
higher
putter,
speed disc.
Do you change your form at all when you're going from putter to mid to driver?
I try not to.
Try not to.
Yeah.
I wondered if that's a little bit possible that he's mentally changing everything
Maybe
back. Nose up issues happen all the time, and typically it's something as easy as your pull through. It's not coming through level. I noticed most people when they ask me, "Hey, will you look at my form?" Like at Hops and Heisers this weekend, I had a kid come up to me and say, "Hey, will you spend a little time with me and look at my form and see what we can do?" And I watched him. I actually filmed him and slowed everything down for him to see what was going on. And he had the same issues. He had the nose up release going on, and which causes inconsistent flights, especially into wind. It just gets chaotic at times. And I just kind of gave him a couple tips on keeping the disc nice and level. Don't worry in the beginning about a full run up. Just slow everything down, and just concentrate on the level flat release, as opposed to majority of the time what's happening is you're either rolling your wrist or it feels like you're bringing it straight back, but actually you're bringing it back down and pulling up through. So one
dipping,
thing to
for sure.
dipping your shoulder and your arm and there's just so many variables that could go into it. The best thing to do is just go out in the field and slow everything down until you're getting that nice straight flat release, and then constantly work on working up your speed a little bit more, and then putting a little more power behind it.
That's what I'd say too. I also think that putters can mask a nose up problem just a little bit because they don't react as extremely as faster discs do.
Yeah.
So you may still have a bit of a nose up problem when you throw putters and faster discs. It's just masked a little by putters. So yeah, videoing yourself is super helpful. I would do it.
Excellent. All right.
Excellent.
All right, next question comes from Eric.
Hey,
Dude,
Eric Guest.
We're right here, man.
I know.
You can just
I know.
ask us. You don't
I
have to
can't.
go
This
through
is-
the proper channels.
He puts Eric Guest. I wonder if his last name really is Guest, or
Probably.
he just thinks he's a guest on the show.
maybe both.
I don't know. He says, "Hey, Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, Eric, best name ever, McCabe,
Boom.
and Robert. I only carry Warden's McCall.
That's true.
Fact.
You're not
I'm
wrong.
Yeah, I'm a lefty. Everything in my life I do is left-handed. Okay, next question. We don't take
It's my
left-handed
evil
questions.
twin.
Yeah, no. With the exception of disc golf. Oh, I'm 99.9% a right-hand backhand thrower. I've always been fine with finding flippy discs and throwing Anheisers. Lately, I've noticed that I need that forehand line. Right-hand forehand is the most alien feeling in the world.
Yes.
Yeah. I can only get about 150 feet of distance. On the flip side, my left-hand backhand is even worse. So what should I work on? Throwing left-hand backhand or right-hand forehand? Any tips or tricks that will make either go smoother would be much appreciated.
That's a great question.
It's a really interesting conundrum to find yourself in.
It is. Well, like my buddy Gabe, he's dominant right-handed, but he grew up playing tennis.
Okay.
So this motion, first time he picked up a disc, he threw it left-handed, and that's what he does. He putts right and throws left. When he forehands right. So it's kind of like the same shot almost.
That's funny. Max Nichols is like that too. He's a right-handed baseball player, and so he throws left-hand backhand.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know, man. If it was me, I would work on my left-hand forehand. I think. Wait. He said he plays right hand. Sorry.
Yeah. You would work on your right hand.
Right-hand forehand.
Yeah.
I would. If you're using one hand to do all disc golf things, I think it makes more sense to keep it just with that hand
instead of just being able to throw lefty and righty.
Yeah. Either way is okay.
I would work
truly,
on both, but
yeah.
But you did say yourself that your left hand backhand is poor.
Yeah.
Not as good as your right hand forehand. So I would agree. I would work on your right hand forehand. It's a shot that you need now more so than ever.
Right.
When I was traveling and playing in the late 2000s, you didn't really need a forehand necessarily.
Right.
I mean, you could get away with throwing backhand turnovers. That's not really the case anymore because there's just there's just lines that you can take with a forehand that you can't take with a turnover shot.
Right.
So
when you can throw a hyzer either way all the time, that's a lot more consistent, which is really
all
nice.
you need is like overstable in your bag.
Yeah, right.
not really, but yeah, absolutely. I would work on your forehand.
Agreed.
Excellent. So recently,
Must be something with the name
What?
Eric.
Yeah.
And forehands.
That's right. They just don't. They just don't like them.
Can't do it.
So recently, PDJ did a ratings update, and I went out and asked them. No, I asked them how they did on their ratings. So I asked him. I gave him 3 choices. Did your rating go up? Did your rating go down? This one's on YouTube, and I did another one on Twitter.
Oh.
Or stayed the same. So up, down, stayed the same.
Nice.
Which do you think was the most percentage?
That's a tough one.
Up.
Stayed the same.
Stayed the same.
Dumb.
52%.
Because it's late in the year.
Oh yeah, because they wouldn't have played many events.
Yeah.
That's right.
Now, there was only 222 votes because I just put this one out on YouTube. So 52% said stay the same, 32% up, 15% said down. Let's
Nice.
look at Twitter. Do you think Twitter had probably same
Twitter.
results?
Probably.
Nah.
Yeah. Later in the year, I mean, it seems like there would be fewer events.
Yeah.
Correct.
for fewer events.
43% said stay the same, 41% said up. How does that work? Oh yeah, that would work. Okay, that would work.
132%.
Yeah.
No, that does work. That's really
Strange.
close. 16% said down. So yeah, so it looks like for the majority of people, their rating stayed the same. So is that kind of a thing that later in the year you can't really expect your rating to go up or down?
You
or-
just play fewer
It
events.
depends on how many events
It gets
you
cold
play.
outside.
Yeah.
I mean, in December, yeah, it's kind of hard for your rating to fluctuate a whole lot unless you're like a touring player.
Right.
and constantly playing events.
So, so speaking of rating updates, just a quick reminder, because I know you guys have heard it a lot. Me and Robert McCall, and recently Jeremy Rusko have a bet with Robert McCall because
I didn't hear about Rusko.
Yeah, he wants in.
yeah, he wants in on that. As soon as
What
I told
side
him,
does he want in on?
He wants in on
my
in
side.
on Bobby's side.
Oh.
I'm about to get so many lunches.
You know what? You know what? Maybe I need to get in on this.
Come on.
I'm about
First,
to
let
get
me tell you
so
about
many
it, see if you want in
lunches.
on it.
Ooh.
So
How
what
do
it
you know
is-
I wasn't going to help you train?
No, I just meant for those two. I'm happy for the help.
I mean,
at this
now
point.
I might be going to this side.
Yeah, right.
I was just continuing a previous thought.
So just the real quick brief update. So when Robert got a job here, the joke was that he was going to get worse at disc golf, not get better, because people constantly like, I can't wait to. I would love to work for a disc golf company.
You just
Well,
play disc golf all the time.
No,
you don't.
There's less disc golf. So the joke was because previous people that had worked here, their ratings went down. So I had told McCall that his rating would go down, and he said, "I'll take that bet." So it turned into a bet where
No, I said I think I could get back to 1,000. I've been there before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that does mean that it would go up from where I was.
True.
When I came here, I was 9. I don't know. I'll have to look that up.
So the bet was if
I'll do the research.
He has to hit 1,000 rated sometime between now and December 31st, 2018.
Right.
The morning of
So
2019.
it's a year.
If he hasn't hit 1,000 rated, then he has to buy me lunch, and I get
Yes.
to produce a Dimax with any pitcher I want, and it must go straight into his bag. Of course, it's going to be a Warden because I know that's what he'll want,
No.
but he'll have to throw it.
That's right. Well, I've got a sweet Walter Warden right now, but
It's
I mean,
gotta
if I lose,
boost.
you got to go.
Yeah. And then obviously the opposite, if he does hit the 1,000, then I have to pay for lunch, and he gets me a
Man.
disc.
Okay, what are you at?
Okay, so I came here by the time I was on the show, I was probably at 979. But when I moved to Kansas, I was at 983. The last update, I moved up to 991. So I'm getting close.
Close?
Here's the
nervous.
here's the really important thing, right? My January through
I
March.
don't know how ratings work very well, so I don't know if they'd be nervous or not.
Here's
I'll
what it
just
is.
Nobody does,
I'll
Bobby.
just keep it real, yeah.
Here's what it is.
We need to have Chuck Kennedy call in
Yeah,
and tell us.
yeah. Pardon
Is
me,
this
Chuck.
gonna
possible,
make it.
Chuck?
Yeah. Tell me what I've got to do. So January to March of this year, I did not have very many good tournaments. I had one that averaged around 1,000 and then a couple that were 960, 970, and maybe 980-ish. So if I were to, because English, if I were to in 2018 throw in a couple of good tournaments, January, February, March, that were 1005, 1010, 1015, somewhere in there average, that could be enough to bump it over. But I mean, that's contingent upon me doing that. The last tournament that I played was in Wichita. I lost to Ben Wiggins because he shredded, and then I also lost to Crispin Carrasco because he shredded.
Typical fashion.
Yeah, they both pretty difficult players to beat in Wichita, but those ratings bumped up a little to like 10-13, 10-18 or something. So it was a good weekend, even though I got third, and those helped out.
I have to say, I do appreciate the sportsmanship. In other words, you haven't tried to be strategic as far as what to play, don't to play. You've just
sure.
been playing
I
stuff
just-
that you can play.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna just turtle,
Right.
like go play one event and just wait.
Right. So
Unless
and-
he plays his next event and
And I-
just
and-
like 1040 or something.
And then I'm
he's
not
gonna sit on his-
touching a frisbee.
I'm retired.
you guys, I'm gonna work from home. I'll see you guys later.
So anyway, so 9 points isn't a lot, but it is a lot, right? When you get to that point,
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It is, and it's as you get closer to 1,000 and as you get higher, it's harder to get those points
Right.
because you can only do so well.
Right.
That's why like 1050 is a ridiculous threshold. I don't think we'll see many people much higher than that because you just can't score that much better than that physically. So anyway, I've been there before. I'm trying to get there again.
Right.
Thanks for the support on the Answer Man Facebook page. You suck. I welcome your training because I want to get good. Okay, that's it. I've said my piece.
So, and we appreciate you guys kind of either razzing Eric or Robert or cheering him on. So
it's
good.
mostly
All
just
good.
razzing by
Mostly razzing, yeah.
almost everybody.
Yeah. All right, let's get back to the question. This is from John Pat Myers.
Hi guys, it's John Pratt from South Africa here.
Oh,
I
nice.
just thought that after hearing all the Australians, perhaps you guys in the
Nice.
States and elsewhere would think that Australia is the only country in the Southern Hemisphere that plays disc golf. So yeah, we're trying desperately here to get disc golf on the map and get it, accepted by the sports bodies and stuff, because at the moment they still think that it's a bit like yo-yos and dingbats and stuff. So
How can I
my
help?
question is basically, geared towards disc golf course design. And what would you guys recommend to do? And also, what would you recommend not to do? The courses that I'm kind of designing at the moment, with very little experience, is I'm kind of trying to gear it towards newbies and not getting them totally demoralized with seriously difficult holes to play at the beginning, but also to make the course challenging enough for people who've gone beyond that newbie stage and getting to the novice and maybe advanced stages as well, so that that course can last. And putting different teasing and so on and so forth. We got some unique problems here, but we're not going to get into that. So basically, thanks a lot. You guys are a constant source of information and inspiration. And thanks a lot for the show. Keep it real. Cheers.
Thanks, man.
Okay, I don't mean to nerd out for a second, but
That's really
from
cool.
South Africa,
That's super cool.
Thank you
Well,
so
and
much for calling
Australians have a really cool accent. New Zealanders do as well. South Africa has, I think, also a really cool, interesting accent. That's, I think, pretty distinguishable. So it's cool to hear from somebody from there.
That's
awesome.
So what do you got for me, Eric?
I'm all in. Just let me know when I need
Fly
to get
him out.
out.
He'll talk to you about it in person.
Man, that'd be so much fun. I think you're on the right track. It depends on what kind of the property that you have to work with, what it'll allow, but you're absolutely on the right track as far as making it more beginner noob style friendly course. Because worst thing you want to do is put in a big tough championship level course with water everywhere and
just discourage people.
Just discourage people from even wanting to pick up the game. So one thing that you can really do that's such an easy thing is 2 different tees. The shorter tees that a lot of people, we actually just recently installed a bunch of short tees here in Emporia at Pan West and Jones East, and I see a lot of people playing them now. A lot of people were discouraged from going out and playing Jones East because it's a tough,
it's difficult,
upper advanced, lower pro level course that it can be very difficult and discouraging. So I see a lot of people going out there and playing short tees, and I think that really helps benefit the sport. It helps get people involved, especially in a country where, I mean, how many courses do they even have in South Africa? I mean, I can't imagine that very many. So just keep it easy. Keep safety, obviously, your number one priority. If there's walking paths or anything like that, you want to kind of steer clear of that, and playground equipment, and keep distances as far from your next tee pad. You don't want it to be super close to the basket, the previous hole. Just common sense type stuff, and just keep it really easy. And when I'm installing a course like this, it's similar to the one I just installed out in Western Kansas. What I like to do is I'll come through and I'll design the more challenging course first. That gives you more room to work with on the property. That way you can come in and put short tees in, because if you go and do the short tees first,
then you have to expand.
It makes it a little more difficult.
Yeah.
So absolutely go in and do the a little more challenging course first, and then go back and then do the shorter tees. And short tees are very important, and keep them ridiculously easy to start.
Agreed.
I'm looking at the PDGA disc golf course directory map, and in South, there looks like there's 2.
Wow.
Oh.
The ones that are listed here are Royal Delta West and Royal Delta East, so on one land.
Wow, that's
piece of property.
Crazy.
The Florence Bloom Bird Sanctuary is nearby. So
I think we should probably just go check it out.
Yeah,
if y'all are interested.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Thanks for calling in. That's awesome.
No doubt. Next one comes from Mike. Hello, Disc Golf Answer Man crew. I've been listening to your show for months, and it has been an amazing resource for me. Thank you for everything you do. Well, thank you, Mike. We appreciate it. I know that it's important to throw with less power than a drive when approaching the basket.
Okay.
And always have this in mind when I'm preparing and lining up my shot. But at the last second, I often tense up, causing me to throw at full power and sending the disc quite a bit past the basket or skipping into oblivion. Then I have to putt back to the basket. What advice would you have to help correct this problem? Have any of you ever had similar issues? I grab my suspect. Because now, obviously, I don't have it blast past it, but I love the suspect. Now, this is just personal for me, for my throw. I love the suspect because if I accidentally overthrow it, it won't go too far because I know it's just going to die left at the end. That's my advice. I don't know how good it is, but
I don't know how good it is, he said.
I'm going to give you this advice. It probably sucks,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
here it is. I think it's important for when you're learning approach shots. Cool, that's a word.
Mhm.
Approach shots to differentiate between throwing fast and following through.
Mm-hmm.
You always want to follow through no matter what shot you're throwing. I think it's important for you to learn to have a slow arm swing and still follow through.
Correct.
And so, yeah, what I would start with, like we talk about all the time, is just working on a standstill shot. Start with 80-foot up shots. I mean, you're probably putting from there most of the time, but if you aren't, even if you are, learn how to throw from 80 feet because your arm is going to have to be slow, but you'll still have to follow through to get the disc to do what you want to. Then back out to 100, 150, and then work from there. I think getting that follow through correct alleviates the need to throw as hard as you can because your mechanics are right. So don't worry so much about your arm speed on the front end. Worry about following through correctly.
Following through correctly and obvious disc selection.
Disc choice, of course, yeah.
Excellent. Next one comes from Tony Danza.
Oh, wow.
Sweet.
Seems he's
I didn't know we had such
disc golfer.
famous listeners.
Who's the boss?
So my home course is in Seattle. It's a wonderful place with good people and good times. Unfortunately, it gets a bad rep around the Seattle area. The number of homeless people living on the course and the amount of used needles left on fairways
Ew.
and tee pads is astonishing. It can be quite frustrating because we do regular cleanups and the course will be trashed again within 2 days.
Wow.
The city doesn't seem to be too interested in helping out. So my question is, have you guys encountered a similar issue in your travels? And if so, have you seen any effective action from the disc golf community?
Wow.
I've never heard it to be that bad.
I've never heard of finding needles in the fairway.
I mean, I've seen
I've seen
needles
it
on the
here
course,
and there,
but
of
not
course,
like
not
not a lot.
not to the extent of I clean it up and it's there again in 2 days.
Right.
The only thing I've really experienced is Vegas had at Sunset Park. There's a lot of homeless community that lives at Sunset Park, and it's the complete opposite effect actually because they're out there with brooms brooming your tee pad before you get there. So
Really?
I don't know if they want to tip,
Oh,
but it's pretty cool that they're out
Yeah.
there brooming the tees but no, I haven't really experienced anything with negative from homeless people or drug use or anything like that. I don't know.
Same. I haven't interacted with it enough to say this is a good idea. I think you're probably doing the best that you can in cleaning up the park and just trying to keep it clean. Hopefully that'll set the tone for it, but it's really hard to do it if you know and they have a track record of just making it dirty again.
So without knowing how the city works and how the government's doing there, I got to take your word from it, Tony Danza, that they seem disinterested in it, but I don't know at what level.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps maybe something you could do is maybe videotape you cleaning it up.
Absolutely.
And then going back however many days later that you say things will show up again and then showing them again, look at this. And maybe they don't realize. Now, you may think, well, we've told them, but maybe you haven't told them enough. Maybe you haven't told the right person. Maybe they don't understand the severity of it. And if you make a video that shows them and then shows them how many people actually come out and play disc golf and would really enjoy a much cleaner park, maybe they'll stand up and take notice. It may take, I'm not saying it'll happen the next day. Next month, it may take a while, but you've got to be consistent. And you've got to be that squeaky wheel.
Yeah.
And I would assume that they wouldn't want a video like that going viral.
Right. So, that might be something you try. But
another thing that might help, I don't know what the leagues or minis or like that situation is out there, but if there isn't one, I mean, that's always good. I know the more disc golfers, the more people that are in a park is when kind of more of that activity starts to slow down a little bit more too.
Agreed.
So that may be something to look into as well.
all right. Next one is from Mike. What's up, Disc Golf Answer Man? I have a few questions.
So,
First, I can't throw a beaded putter accurately to save my life. What is the benefit of the bead, and do any of you like to use a beaded putter? If so, why do you prefer the bead?
The bead, personal preference. That's really all it is.
if
I mean,
it feels comfortable in your hand,
Yeah, it's got if
I mean, Robert he swears by the warden.
yes, love it.
and that's absolutely
throwers
no
and everything.
bead.
That's a no
It's a
bead.
judge with no bead,
Right.
basically.
But I also throw the slammer, and that has a bead.
Yeah. But
Um,
no, I don't think you're like completely opposed to the bead. I don't
Correct.
think the
It's just-
slammer has like a bead like the judge.
It's not like a
does.
judge bead. You're exactly right.
And it's really just personal preference. I think
Yeah.
the bead it will help with stability of the disc. So I think that's something beneficial to it. But for the most part, it's really all about that feel. If it feels good, do it.
Right. And if there was a beaded putter in our lineup that I liked better than the Warden, I would throw that. I like how the Warden flies. I like how it feels. I just roll with it.
Do you think people now? I mean, this may be a big stretch. Do you think people put too much stake into something like the bead? In other words, when they pick up a disc, do they immediately look, oh, does it have a bead? Rather than just seeing what it feels like in their hand, giving it a few putts to see if they like it,
Possibly.
and then decide, oh, yeah, I don't like the feel of that bead on my finger. Or do they immediately, because I know that happens a lot whenever we get, like when we do live videos on new releases and stuff, one of the big things is, what's the bead like?
Is there a bead?
Yeah, is
What's
there a
the
bead or
profile?
not a bead? Like a Deputy, I think, just has a tiny bit of a bead, right?
Micro, if any.
Yeah,
but-
it's more like a rounded edge.
Yeah.
But I don't. When I heard about it coming out, when I saw some of our players throwing it when it was in prototype stage, when I threw it myself, I didn't think, but does it have a bead?
Sure.
All I thought was, how does it throw? I threw it and I liked it.
Yeah. Well, it's a total comfortability and confidence thing. If it feels comfortable enough in your hand, but you're not going to be confident with it, don't throw that disc. Don't force it if you don't have to. But I would try discs out even if you in the past haven't liked a bead. Just give it a try. Maybe that would work for you. But yeah, personal preference more than anything.
I think it's also comes down to finger placement, as like where your
That's
index
true.
finger is on the
That's
disc.
true.
So if you're one that keeps it on the rim, then you're probably going to want a bead for it to rest on.
Mhm.
But I mean, it's like we've just stressed. It's personal preference.
Yep.
All right, next one comes from
Did he
Mike
have
again.
more?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the next one from Mike. What is the backstory of Hand Eye Supply Company? Well, if we
Perfect timing.
told you, you'd have to be in Hand Eye Supply Company. Or no,
Yeah.
I don't know. So Hand Eye Supply is the genius creation of Crispin Carrasco. It's just a company that he created. That he has a very creative mind for designs and marketing.
He was with a company that was like graphic design, and he
Right.
did that for them, and then he just kind of did the hand-eye stuff on the side just
Right.
for fun with his friends.
And as far as the mystery of it, that's just the way Crispin likes it, and that's the way we got to keep it. So it's just a cool design, and I would say always be on the lookout for the new designs from Hand Eye Supply because it's just really cool stuff. Wish I could give you more, but
Hit up Crispin. Maybe he'll tell
Yeah.
you the story.
But he'd probably shoot you if you did.
Well, I don't know if he'd shoot you, but he would just feed you with a big old long line of who knows what.
Yeah, right.
Oh yeah,
It would so be worth
Yeah.
it.
Oh, I'll explain it to you.
yeah.
Since the beginning of time.
Yeah,
But-
yeah.
Okay, Crispin.
All right. So finally, his last question is: how is the themes of disc in production decided on? It appears DD uses a criminal justice theme. West Side uses a medieval and Renaissance theme, and I'm not sure, but it appears Last 4 uses a travel and weapons-based theme. That's an interesting question. Yes, you're right. The West Side uses a somewhat medieval Renaissance. It's actually based on Finnish folklore that's out there. I'm not sure the whole backstory, but I know
That's right,
what
yeah.
I've heard.
Yeah.
Right, but I don't know what the story is and stuff like that.
I think it's called the Kalevala or something like that. That's about all I
Yeah,
know
you just
about
made
it.
that word up.
I did not.
Oh, okay. And yes, DD is based on a criminal justice theme type thing. Lat 64 has certain naming schemes.
They're kind of all over the board, though. For the
different
most part.
things.
Yeah.
Why? Because you kind of want to have a flow with it. There is something to say about a disc having a cool name.
Sure.
I mean, the Defender, that sounds like a cool name. What I say is interesting is that we've often met and talked about names, and we're thinking, and at some point, are we ever going to run out of the criminal justice theme name?
sure.
So anyway, so it's interesting. So we'll have to see what comes about from that.
Yeah. It's cool that you can identify. A lot of times, if I were to tell you a disc's name, you could identify the company with it because of the scheme that they use.
Right.
So it's just, I don't think there's anything else to it. Just that it helps to identify those to the company.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So let's take a quick break. All right. Break's over.
All right,
Let's have-
sweet
Worth
break.
it.
Well, that's the thing is, I know you guys are so patient with me. Sometimes I experiment with music intermissions and commercial intermissions, and so I haven't done that lately. So
We never know what's happening.
you guys never know until you hear the end production. What's
That's
going on.
100% true.
So, but let's go ahead and jump into a McCall minute.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, are we?
Are we going back to those?
This is replacing the
I
McCabe
don't
minute,
know.
or just
No, I just couldn't
Also-
think of anything else.
All right.
The quick tip with Robert McCall.
of the week? So this one is just particular to wintertime, right? It's for us right now, it's not very cold outside, which is awesome. But for most of you, it either is cold or will shortly be cold. And so this is honestly an unpaid and shameless plug. Use your off season to get better. If you care about competing in disc golf or just care about disc golf in general, use your off season to get better. And so for me, that usually comes down to a couple of things. But the two that I want to share with you that I think are important is putting. Number one, putting. Do that. Go to a winter marksman league. Go to a putting league. Go to wherever you can putt and just keep those skills up, because you don't want to be behind when January, February rolls around and your smooth putting stroke that you used to have just isn't there. Don't do that. Don't let it go to waste. Find somewhere that you can stay active with that, because your throws and form will come back. Putting is something that really takes repetition, and it really, really takes confidence. So don't slack on that. Make sure and putt during your off season. And the other thing I would work on is physical fitness. And one of the ways that that a lot of our Team Dynamic Discs players are doing that is by looking up Disc Golf Strong. Seth Munsey, he does programs for disc golfers that are disc golf specific, tells you exercises that could help you out to improve your mobility, to improve your strength, so that you can be healthier on the course for a longer amount of time. I would do that in a heartbeat. Just look up Disc Golf Strong, see what he's talking about that week, and then put some of those things into practice, so that, again, once you finish, December, January, you're getting ready to go to a tournament, you're not playing catch up. You've been maintaining and building on what you've had up to this point. So don't let the holiday season go to waste for you.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So another survey I did it with the new Disc Golf Answer Man phone book. If you guys don't know, I've got a phone number out there where you can text in 321-265-3426. And I'm going to use that to kind of experiment with surveys, giveaways, and stuff like that. So I put a survey out there, and of course, everybody here found out that I had messed up on the survey because Eric was texting, "Hey, did you know that text you sent out?" So I apologize for something went wrong with the Google link to the Google form. It worked perfectly on my desktop, but for some reason, when I texted it out, it
Put a
messed up.
decimal point in the wrong place or something.
No, it was like what was weird is I told it to shorten
you
the link.
get it, right?
Okay. When I told it to shorten the link, it screwed it up. So anyway, the question I asked, and some people actually texted me back and were like, "I wanted to answer more. I wanted to tell you more about it." All I wanted to know is, in a tournament, have you ever called a foot fault on anyone?
Nice.
That's all I wanted to know. Yes or no?
Yes.
What do you think? Which do you think was the biggest percentage? Yes or no?
No.
Really?
If people are honest, then it's absolutely no.
78% of people said no. They did not call a foot fault, and 28% said yes. Or 22, I'm sorry, said yes.
Have you?
Yes.
Yes. I have as well.
You've called someone on football?
I unfortunately called it was a bad situation. It was at USDGC.
Oh, here it goes.
It wasn't. I don't know. It was at USDGC, and I can't remember who it was. It was a European player, and we were on hole number 9 at USDGC, which is the first elevated basket, and it was the second shot. And he stepped on his disc and threw, and I immediately said foot fault. And I remember Double G was on my card, and he goes, "Yeah, second," because I was, I had to second it back in the good old days.
For those that don't know, Double G is Garrett Gerthy.
Yeah. So second, it got seconded, and the guy was like, "Oh man, what do I?" He didn't know what to do, and I was like, "Well, you got to rethrow," because this was back when.
And it's a warning at that point.
Yep. It was a warning at that point, but then he proceeded to foot fault like 3 times in a row.
Stepping on it again?
Just completely missing. And
darn it.
And I called him again, and then at that point, I'm just like, all right, I'm done. I'm not doing this. And then other people on the card started calling him on it, and I'm like, gosh, I feel like a jerk. But I mean, it's the rules. I'm sorry.
Right.
He was all right.
Yeah.
He was okay with it. I mean, he understood, and actually the next day, I saw him again, and I'm like, hey, how'd your round go? Trying to make small talk. He goes, good. I shot, and then whatever. He goes, 0 foot faults. Like, all right,
nice.
Cool.
That's the difficult part about a self-governed sport is when, even if you are just enforcing the rules and doing your job, sometimes you feel weird about it, because it sucks. You don't want to.
It makes you feel like you're singling out somebody.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I
that's
don't
tough.
like you, so I'm going to call you on a rule violation. You know,
Right.
it's
Yeah, the I haven't called a whole lot, but one of the ones that I remember vividly was, and it is a decent friend of mine. He putted, he was on a knee, putted inside the circle, and just put his hand down in front of him after he
Mhm.
let it go. We both looked at each other, and I said, that's a foot fault, and he seconded, and he reputted.
Did he make it?
No, he made the first one.
Oh.
Yeah, he was not pleased, but he understood. Like you,
It's the rules.
yeah, you broke the rule.
What is the
we both saw it
worst
happen together.
Is when somebody does that and then sees that they're missing and then falls forward and then calls it on themselves.
That is the worst.
Yes. That
Those
happens.
people should shut up.
That happened on one of my cards one time
I
at
hate that.
Worlds.
I hate that.
So some people tried to give me a little backstory, and I apologize if I don't get to your backstory, but we'll read a couple here on the text messaging. But I know that people were a little bit frustrated because they wanted to give me some backstory, but I literally just wanted it to have the yes or no so we could
Kind of
spark
like we
a
just did.
conversation.
Right.
So
Yes,
let's
but
see.
story.
Someone said that someone was hit in a tournament for foot fault. Oh, this was little Ava was
nice.
hit in a tournament for foot fault when she was 7.
Whoa.
Wow. Let's see.
I mean, if you're 7, maybe chill on the foot fault calls. That's just me.
Yeah.
Probably.
I mean,
just chill.
yeah. At some point, they got to learn, but
Right.
7 is probably not that age.
Yeah, come on, man.
It's probably not that number.
I'm sure there
let's
are
see.
purists out there who'd say call it no matter what, but I mean, okay.
Someone asked me, can we ask questions through the text messaging? No.
No, you can, but you probably won't get an answer.
Yeah, you probably won't get an answer because we're going to have several ways for you to be able to ask questions to the Disc Golf Answer. But the texting probably isn't the best way because I have a few hundred people on here. And so to be able to sort through those texts is I'm just saying. I'm just saying I'm not going to be able to.
Bobby's
get through all
phone's
those.
going off at night.
He's
Sue's
blowing
going,
up.
Oh,
"What's
you should have
going on
seen
here?"
it when that link went wrong. Beep beep beep. I mean, it was like people telling me. No, I appreciate people let me know that what was wrong. Let's
Sue,
see.
What the heck are you doing, Bobby?
Let's see. This guy says, however, I've been called for. Oh, he said, however, I've been called for one. Made the second putt though. This was in a weekly random draw dub match.
Nice.
And another time
Weekly
I fell
random
through.
draw.
Yeah,
dubs.
weekly random draw dubs match. And then another time I fell through,
Probably
made
not
the
sanctioned.
putt. I made the putt and put my hand down and said, guys, that was a foot fault. Feel free to call me on it. But they did not. This was at a Mike Folk tournament.
Yeah.
Mr. Disc Golf.
You can't force somebody to second
Mhm.
a foot fault. Right now you don't have to, but then you couldn't. And you won't be able to in 2018 either.
Crazy.
Excellent. Okay, so if you guys want to participate in some of these fun giveaways, surveys, stuff like that, and you want to be contacted through text, put this in or text me at 321-265-3426. If you've already texted that number, I've got your info. There's no need to text. But if you're not in our address book yet, give us a text and we will put you in our address book and have some fun with that. All right, let's go back to some questions. What time we got? How much time we got left? We've got a couple minutes for one more question, maybe. This one's from Doug. I've been playing disc golf for about 5 years now, and I've always considered it a sport. Oh, nice.
Thank you.
Yeah. Recently, my wife and I have bickered about what a sport actually is. And she thinks things like baseball, softball, basketball, and soccer are only considered sports. I've looked online, and it isn't very clear on what is and isn't. I was wondering what your take was on it. On a side note, I've always thrown Innova. I do have a DD chair.
Oh,
LOL.
cool.
But after watching you guys for the past couple of months, I can really see why people would want to be part of your company. I want to address that last comment after we talk about the sport.
Address the comment now. We'll
he
think
can
about the
see
sport.
why.
What?
Go on.
I'm gonna keep it real.
I was gonna say, would you like to keep it real?
Okay, I'm gonna
Here
keep
it
real before we
comes.
talk about sport. So I watch Facebook because it's part of my job,
That's
but
your
it's
job.
also sometimes I consider it kind of like rubbernecking. You know, you see an accident, it's like you got
Train wreck.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
turn and look at it.
Yeah.
In other words, you see arguments on Facebook, like, oh, I don't want to. Okay, let me see what they say. What did they say? Oh my God, did he say that?
Oh no, you didn't.
So a lot of times I'll see people will ask, I throw a certain brand. What is the equivalent of this other certain brand?
Mm-hmm.
I want to change my bag to, and of course, in my case, it's to DD or all trilogy brands. And I see people get mad at them. My thing is, and I've said this before, if you only own one dynamic disc product, a disc, whatever, thank you.
Yeah.
If you own 2 or 3, thank you, thank you, thank you. If you want to fill your entire bag, I think that's awesome.
Great.
My thing is that if someone throws a certain brand, but then they start listening to our show, they watch our commercials, they hear Jeremy talk somewhere, and they think, I really like what those guys are doing. I want to support them. And if their support feels like I want to throw everything they do or everything they make, what is the big deal?
Right.
A lot of people will say, if you're not sponsored, why throw what you want? And that's fine. Throw what you want. Hopefully a DD disc will end up in there because I truly believe we make good quality products. But don't fault somebody because they love a company and they want to
Support them.
support them. I mean, who's the guy that has he'll have Nike shoes, Nike pants, Nike hats because they
Eric
like
Oakley.
Eric Oakley's his
Oh,
name.
yeah. Because they like what Nike, the look of it, they like what it's about. That's my thing, is that I just get frustrated. If they like it, let them support it. Let them do what they want to do. So if you've only thrown Innova, and this isn't trash against Innova, because I
No.
know a lot of people that say, I will only throw Innova. I will only support Innova. And I say, awesome.
Cool,
If
do your
you
thing.
connect with Innova, if Innova is your thing because you live nearby them, because your favorite pro throws them,
Yeah, any reason.
all for it. But if you've defined our stuff and you like it, don't let anybody tell you what to do. Throw our stuff if you like it, and I appreciate it. I say thank you. I'm done.
The one that the aspect of this that I'm always interested in is somebody will say, I throw all dynamic discs in my bag, and someone will come over and say, well, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. If you would be better if you threw a mixed bag. If you're a competitor of that, you could argue the validity of that or not. I don't think that's necessarily true, but some people could argue that. I truly don't care. But it's just funny that you're not that person. They can throw whatever they want to, and if it's limiting them, you'll probably beat them at a tournament if you think that. Like, you're working against yourself when you call someone dumb or whatever for just carrying one brand.
I seen a comment like that because someone said you're harming your game if you do that, and I
mean, I disagree, but
right, because I mean, I understand that you get someone like a Paul Macbeth, a Ricky Wysocki, Paige Pierce. They will throw whatever they're throwing good.
yeah.
Right? Now, of course, we could go down the line and probably pick out a certain manufacturers that we could pick apart why we think they wouldn't do as good. But some of the bigger brands, I believe they would be successful based on the plastic. But there's other parts that go on that make someone successful. Do they like the people they're working with? Do they appreciate the support they're getting? That's all part of the picture. But my thing is that Paige, Ricky only throw one brand. It hasn't seemed to hurt them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's going to harm you if you decide to only throw from the 3 brands.
Yeah. I also don't think you get substantially better or worse. Like, if all I have is DD discs right now, and then all of a sudden Rusco was like, hey, you can throw whatever you want to. I don't think my game improves or gets worse because of that. I think it's just more plastic. It's different discs. I mean, I don't know. For me, it's never bothered me to throw one company, whether I was sponsored or not. I like supporting the people who I care about.
For me, I like the feel personally.
Yep.
And it's all relative for the most part. But
All right, so back to Doug's wife.
So all of our discs
Well,
feel
wait.
the best. All the rest of them.
well,
No, I'm just kidding.
No, and the only thing that really just gets to me is when you see all these people that are like fanboying out on certain companies, and like completely dogging another disc golf company, saying that they're trash and blah blah blah, this,
Right.
that, and the other. Do you really think that's helping grow the sport?
Yeah, right.
I mean, do you want this company to just go away and not, invest into disc golf? I mean, get real.
Yeah.
Get real. Throw what you want.
Keep it real.
Don't dog people for throwing what they want.
Yeah, let them throw whatever they want to. You throw what you want to.
Yeah.
And if it happens to be our stuff, we're
And
excited
if
to
it
have you.
happens to be an EMAC Truth, you're going to score like 5 or 6 strokes better.
There you go.
All right, so back to Doug's wife, and does she believe, or her thoughts on it not, or did she say it wasn't?
It was not a sport.
Because baseball, softball, basketball, and soccer are only considered sports. I would have to know what is her definition of a sport.
I'm
Yeah.
guessing
Maybe just that they're well established or something.
well established. They're on TV.
All right.
They are
If that's the case, cornhole is a sport.
team challenge,
Sure.
team games and whatnot.
Oh,
So-
I mean, poker is on ESPN. Is poker a sport? It's an irrelevant conversation to me. I don't think it's important.
Do you think poker's a sport?
I mean, I don't.
Let's see.
I think it's a game, but
Yeah, I suppose.
but it requires a ton of strength. And I'm not saying that to take away from poker players. They have to be exceptionally skilled to do what they do professionally.
Mm-hmm.
According to a dictionary, a sport is an activity involving physical exertion and skill in which an individual or team competes against another or others for entertainment.
Okay, then under that classification, I would call disc golf a sport.
How would you dispute that disc golf isn't a sport? Some might say, well, it's not a real physical exertion. Well, you're not playing. You're not playing to the level that some of the top pros play.
Right.
When it's hot out, I sweat.
I'm exerting. And there's obviously
exerting.
skills.
I like that.
There's obviously skills. Otherwise, everybody would be a world champion.
It's entertaining.
Depends on who you're
Depends
watching.
on how
I guess from either side, really.
Depends on how your game's going, whether you're being entertained.
That's
or
right.
not.
That's right.
So anyway, I'm sorry, Doug's wife, Mrs. Druziak. It is a sport based on the definition. Of
Sorry,
the dictionary.
Bobby said it. It's true now.
All right, let's see where we at. Yes, we are at an hour and 2 minutes. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up episode 199. Oh, we said we're gonna give stuff away.
We did.
All right, so I'm going to create a form. Let me put on my little notes. We're going to create a form to give away some discs. All right, so I went and grabbed a couple discs. We're going to give away 2 discs on episode 199. Episode 200, when we're going to give away the
200.
Episode Ranger episode Ranger H200.
We're going to give away Dynamic Discs Ranger H2O that's been sitting over there. It's a Stars and Stripes
Special
bag.
Ops.
It is not a Stars and
It
Stripes.
is not. It is a Special Ops, which is kind of like the Stars and Stripes, but a little bit of a graded fade. Graded fade.
Dude, spoonerisms for life.
Faded gray.
Yes. Fantastic.
So in my hand, I have a River Pro.
Nice.
Robert, why don't you take the River Pro? Tell us about the River Pro.
The River Pro is a fairway driver to be thrown only in fairways.
False.
What do you think, Eric?
False.
Okay. No, River Pro is as far as fairway drivers go, not a super fast fairway driver. I think it's got a really comfortable rim. It is relatively overstable, especially if you're comparing it to its namesake, the River, which is pretty straight to understable for beginner to intermediate disc golfers. I think you can rely on the River Pro in some wind. It'll hold pretty straight for you and still get a nice little finish to the left. This was one of our Trilogy Challenge discs for 2017. And I think it's been one of the more well-loved ones. I mean, I guess all 3 did pretty well this year. A lot of people throw the River Pro. A lot of people throw the Deputy for sure.
Mm-hmm. I think the Deputy is probably the most popular.
I think that's been
Trilogy Challenge disc we've ever done.
I think that's been met pretty well. Yeah. And then I put a Pine back in the bag just to try it out because I don't know. I like it. I like how it feels. But yeah, River Pro is great. Like I said, middle speed fairway driver, good stability. I think usable for most anybody.
Yeah.
Maybe not a very, very beginner, but up from there, yeah.
It'd be a good headwind driver for them.
For sure.
All right, so this is what you're going to do. You're going to have to work for this one. This is going to be fun.
Ooh.
If you want that River Pro, I want you to go onto your Facebook page, and I want you to put, I listen to the Disc Golf Answer Man podcast, and they want to give me a Latitude 64 River Pro. Wow, that's a lot.
Wow.
So, once again, I listen. You have to put this in your Facebook on your newsfeed. I listen to the Disc Golf Answer Man, and they want to give me a Latitude 64 River Pro. Take a screenshot, send that screenshot to the Disc Golf Answer Man Facebook page, not the group, the Facebook page. It's connected to the group, so you should be able to find it, or you can search for it.
How many people are going to screw this up?
This many.
One more time. Listen very carefully.
Keep going.
Keep going.
Listen very carefully. On your Facebook page, post this. I listen to the Disc Golf Answer Man, and they want to give me a Latitude 64 River Pro. Take a screenshot showing that you did that. Send it to the Disc Golf Answer Man Facebook group on Messenger.
Did it.
Done. Okay? And we'll send that out.
Print out a copy of it and place it under your pillow.
And woof it.
Yeah, woof it.
Woof me.
Woof it. All right, so the other disc we have is a My Die Latitude 64 Ballista. Eric, tell us about the Ballista.
Ballista is amazing. I actually recently put one back in the bag for just raw, pure distance shots. Tailwind shots, it really works well for me. It's a high-speed driver. I wouldn't say overstable. It's relatively straight flying. If you have a super big arm and you tend to turn things over a lot more, this probably isn't going to work out very well for you. And if you're a beginner, I wouldn't necessarily recommend putting one in the bag because it is a little bit more high speed. Has a little bit bigger of a rim to it. But, if you kind of max out around that 300-foot mark, I think it could be a great disc for you, and you can possibly get a little bit more distance.
Mm-hmm. And even up from there, for sure.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. The Opto Ballista.
Yeah.
I'm throwing the gold line right now.
Yeah, the Opto actually will get a little bit more turn or maybe a longer, straighter flight than the gold line or the snow ones.
But it's a great flying disc.
Agreed.
Okay, for this one, hopefully you're on Twitter because this is the only way you're going to be able to win the Latitude 64 Ballista. I want you to tweet out, similar to the River Pro, I want you to tweet out, I listen to DGAM, or if it'll fit, it should fit, yeah, because they extended it to 240, 260, 240, 280, 280 characters.
Numbers. Different numbers.
I listen to the Disc Golf Answer Man, and they want to give me a Latitude 64 Ballista. Tweet that out. Take a screenshot, send that to the Disc Golf Answer Man Facebook page via Messenger.
One more time?
One more time. On your Twitter feed, tweet, I listen to the Disc Golf Answer Man, and they want to give me a Latitude 64 Ballista.
Is that too many characters for Twitter?
I don't think so.
No, that's good.
And take a screenshot of that and send that to Disc Golf Answer Man Facebook page, not the group, the page. Send it to the messenger. And this, let me look at the dates. I'm going to give each of these up until it is December 13th. They'll release the 20th. I'm going to give you up until December 29th. So after December 29th, I'm going to pick a winner, and we will select it on the next show. Well, not the next show, but the show, episode 201. Cool? Got it, guys?
Got it.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We appreciate you listening. One more episode. The next episode will be episode 200. It's going to be amazing. Thank you, guys. See ya.
Bye.